One Piece has hundreds of characters, but there's one relationship I don't think fans ever really got over. Because Luffy and Ace weren't brothers because they shared the same blood. They were brothers because as kids, they made a choice. 3 cups of sake, 3 completely different lives, and one promise that made them family. And I think that's why their story still hits so hard. When we first met Ace, he felt almost untouchable. He was everything Luffy wasn't. Older, stronger, already out there making a name for himself. But underneath all of that, Ace was carrying something Luffy never really cared about. Ace spent his life wondering whether he deserved to exist. Luffy never needed an answer to that question. To him, that was just his brother. And then Marineford happened. If you watched it without knowing what was coming, you probably did exactly what I did. You believed they'd actually done it. Luffy crossed an entire battlefield. He survived everything thrown at him. He finally reached Ace, and for a few seconds, it felt like we were going home. That's what makes what happened next hurt so much. Ace didn't spend his final moments talking about treasure or strength or becoming some legendary pirate. What mattered was knowing that despite everything he believed about himself, he had been loved. And years later, that's why seeing these two together still means something. Because before the emperors, before the bounties, before the war, they were just 2 kids who chose to call each other brothers. And somehow, the bonus at the end feels like the perfect way to finish this one. I started collecting because I liked the artwork, but stuff like this is why I stayed. Sometimes you're not collecting cardboard, you're collecting a little piece of a story that meant something to you. And maybe that's the part people outside of this hobby don't always understand. To somebody else, this might just look like another thing to put on a shelf. But to us, it can take you back to the first time you watched a story unfold, the first character you rooted for, the moment that made you laugh, or the one that you still haven't recovered from. And years later, when life looks completely different, somehow these stories can still make you feel exactly the way you did the first time. Maybe that's why we keep coming back, not because of what something might be worth tomorrow, but because of what it already means to us today. Because eventually prices change, hype moves on, there will always be something newer to chase, but a story that genuinely meant something to you, that stays with you. And I think that's what collecting should be about, keeping a small piece of the things we love and remembering why we love them in the first place. That's why this will always be for culture, not profit.